So it's time to get back to WPF videos finally. So in this video we are going to fix the settings page to fully work now, so that you can edit your name, username, email and password fully, and make it work with the server. So let's get to it. So as I mentioned, let's get to editing the WPF application now and getting the settings page work. So let's just first take a look at the existing application. We haven't been in it for a while, so we want to make sure this still fully works. I've also got to get used to where things were. Like I said, we literally haven't done this in quite a while. So we've obviously got the login screen already logged in because we did that in the last video, so I'm currently logged in. We've got the username, which is real. The password is real in a sense. We've already logged in, but this won't be the real password. And then we've got the email. So all these are real values. The name, there wasn't one because when we signed up, we haven't got a first or last name entered. Right now, these are just dummy boxes. So you can double click, you can escape, double click, enter. You can cancel there or tick there. So all these are in. But they don't actually do anything. So we want to link these up now we have the live server, so we can actually do the work. So with that said, let's just go straight into it. So what I'm envisaging, spin that back up actually, what I'm thinking of doing is to basically take this kind of idea of having something here, and when we edit something now, when you click OK, you really need to now talk to the server. So you obviously need to remove these buttons, stop this from being edited, and show some kind of progress. So I've thought on it, and I think the best way of doing this cleanly is to simply have, you click that, all this goes away, and now instead of having this on hover, I think if we just change this to a spinner, like the login button is, so it matches the UI as well. So that while stuff's happening, it simply spins, and then based on the result, if it succeeded, the spinner simply disappears, and now you can edit again or do anything. And if it fails, it goes back to edit mode. And then in order to display the success or failure message, I think we really want to do that in a notification system, which we'll do in another video. So this video is just going to focus on primarily getting this editable code ready so that we can actually call a server function and respond to it correctly where we have some time to respond. So it shouldn't be too much work, but as I mentioned, this is kind of a slow get back into the rhythm, if you will, because we haven't worked on this in probably a month or two. So I've got these files open that I know will be involved. So we've got the control itself we need to tweak. We've got the settings view model, because that's the one that handles the actual where are we? The load command to set up the text entry view models, and in there we're going to have to set up some command to do something. And then we've got that control itself, and then finally the same but for the password entry control. So where to start really is we need some kind of indication to bind to in the UI that says that this is in the middle of a pending operation, if you will. So that's going to exist in this view model, the text entry view model. So we have editing already, and I think we want another one, public boolean, and this one can be, I don't know, pending or working or in progress. Let's just call it working for now, and this will indicate if the current control is pending an update in progress. So this will be our, server work, if you will, whatever we want to do there. So we know we need working. The working then will set the visibility on an actual control. So we want the spinner off the login button. So we go to the, is it on the login page? No, it's in the style of the button, isn't it? Button style, where was it? Button content login is busy property. I believe it's in buttons.xaml is busy property. regular button. So here we go, we have spinning text, that's what I'm after. So let's just copy this spinning text out. We want to make use of that in this UI. So we have, let's see, we've got the original text, we've got the edit buttons, that's those two edit buttons. We have the save and cancel button. The edit button is the hidden one. So basically we want between the edit and the, well, it doesn't really matter for order because the visibility is going to be the same, but let's just paste that in a minute. Copy and paste the edit button container, and this will be the working spinner container. It will be in the same column. It will now, instead of having, we cut this text, instead of having this edit button, it will just have this spinning text. We don't care about horizontal alignment, vertical alignment, font size, or visibility. We just literally want the text basically. So just a text with spinning text in there. And what else will we need? We need to animate him based on if it is working, the new property. And do we want to invert? No, we don't. So if it's working, we want it to be visible. Oh, so it's up the top left because these are visible. So actually, what we need to do is horizontal alignment right and vertical alignment center. So as you can see, let me just zoom in to make sure you can see that. If we go to the control, these buttons fade out and the edit button fades in, and so will the working spinner. Because they're in the same grid column, during the course of this fading out and the other button fading in this case like the working button, there is going to be a difference in width. So because we didn't align them horizontally or vertically, then what would happen is it would simply pick the top left. So this would appear at the top left, and once these fade out, it would then snap to being where it needs to be. So instead we're forcing it down to the bottom right corner. We should probably do the same for the edit button in that case. So force it to the right and to the center. The reason I'm putting the horizontal to the right is because it's technically meant to be right aligned. So when this is fading out, this text will simply get more room, but you won't have the other button magically jumping. If we set it center, it would be center of these two buttons, and then once they disappeared, it would move over. So we make it push to the right into the center, and that should fix that alignment issue. What else do we need? We've got it aligned. I think, to be honest, that's probably enough to see it happening. Let's check if we can compile. Yep, that still compiles. So now, let's just say when we edit, so we click the edit, this shows. When we cancel, okay, so let's change when we save to just show the working. Let's pretend we're working for now. So now when we are going to click the green tick, we should see whatever happens when we're working. So go to settings, go to here, cancel, nothing different should happen. But we click this, and in theory, yeah, there we go, we've got a spinner. That spinner's now needs a little bit of padding to come off the edge, and also we need to stop this hover effect if we're in the middle of working. So let's fix those two things. Okay, so in order to stop that hover, because we have the effects here on the grid, if we were to set the grid to disabled, then the mouse enter and leave won't actually work because a disabled control doesn't take mouse events. And because this whole control should really be disabled, if we simply say the is disabled, or is enabled in this case, of the whole control is bound to the working state. So it's enabled if it's working, that's the opposite way around. So we just need to invert that. So the converter is the Boolean invert. So now if it's not working, it will be enabled. So that should fix the hover effect when we're working. So we go to there, click that, and there we go. So now we have the working state, if you will. And then we obviously would come out of this, but now we can't get into the control, which is what we want. Let's just fix that padding before I forget. The working one. We're going to have to chuck this inside a border so we can have some padding. Then it's left, top, right, we'll do 8, bottom. So we just want some right padding. And that should fix the padding. So I think in terms of the UI, I think we're okay here. I think that's all good and ready. So now we just need to do the view model code. So we'll have this. You double click, or you can cancel, double click, or you can do some work. Then we now go ahead and do some work, which we need to do. And in fact, that probably wants to be 5. It's a little far in. But basically, that's the UI, I think, for the most part. So let's go ahead and go back to, I think I can close this now, to be honest. I don't think there's anything else I need to do in there now. So that's the working button. Yep, I think that's everything in there. Let's close that for now because I'm pretty happy with that. And then we will now go to the text entry view model. So this is where we really need to, we need some kind of function now, because these are all different controls. So that the text entry view model can't possibly do the name and username and password and email actions because they're all different. So we need to pass in an action. So if we split this off into new lines like this, and then each one's going to be that, we need to now pass in some kind of action. So we have commands. It's not going to be a command. It's not going to be a property. It can be a property, to be honest. So we do a public. Now, because we want to pass in a function, if you will, to be executed, just a random one, it can do anything. We'll make it a function, and we'll also make it a task, so that obviously it can be awaited. And it wants to return true or false. So this will be, we'll call it the commit action. And the action to run when saving the text. Then we have returns. Oh no, actually, we can't put returns because it's a property, but it will return. Returns true if the commit was successful, or false otherwise. So this commit action now is something we want to run. So if we set the commit action in here, we will do commit commit action equals, and then we need an action, so we'll call it save name async. And now we need to make that action, so I'll have public async task boolean save name async. And do we want anything? We can pass in, even though we have name here, it might be wise to simply pass the text entry view model in with the function, just so we have the data if we weren't to be inside here. In which case we should also change that to be a task. Or do we need it really? Yeah, I think we do. It's going to return a boolean. We want to pass in a text entry view model. And we now need to do the function. So this function will saves the new name to the server and returns, or saves the new, that's fine, the details of the view model. Returns true if successful, false otherwise. In here, then, this is where we want to do some kind of code. So basically, for now, we'll just await, say, 3 seconds to where we will to do update with server. And obviously, we've got to jump over to the ASP.NET Core website to actually do the update, so that we can, send this data to. And what we'll do is do this video, jump over to the ASP.NET server video, do that work, and then jump back here. But then all we'll have to do is update this one line. And for now, let's pretend we succeeded. So that's now got a save name async. Because this is a view model, and in theory, any action you can do on a view model, you should really make a command that can be bound. So if you want to then bind your UI to run this command, it's available. And that's just something I do. I feel it's something that should be, it's not used right now, but I believe that's the way a view model is meant to be, that it's one and the same. If you've got a function a view model can do, then you need to be able to have a method, but as well a command for allowing the view model to be bound. That's the whole point of a view model, is to be able to be bound. So we'll call this one save name command. Saves the current name to the server. And in here, we'll do save name async equals new relay command. Save name command rather. This has then got in fact, we can just pass in, I believe, the save name async. Not quite, because it's actually got a return function. So we just await. And of course, therein lies the problem with passing the information. So we could pass the name. So I think actually, to be honest, because it's calling back, the thing that's calling back can keep an entry. Let's just delete the self and update it that way. So that will be that's it. There we go. So we just call save name async, so there's no parameter now, which is fine, because we have we can access a parameter here because we know it's the name. So it's our view model, so we've got no issue. So we have that now saved. The load now sets up that command so it can be called. So I think that's it for the settings view model. We'll put a breakpoint there after, but that should work, so we should be good closing that. So now we are hopefully getting close to something that's usable. Commit action is ready. So now we just need to call commit action in the text entry view model. So we don't need it there. We've got the command methods, which is the edit, cancel and save. So let's first fix, did we put public properties working? Oh, I know the other thing we've missed, saying that, or have we? No, we haven't, that's fine. Because we stopped the hobby, yeah, that's fine. Just thinking something through in my head. Right, so we have commit action. So now in the edit, when we edit a control, we want to make sure in the edit that, for one, we shouldn't be able to edit unless we're not working, because working disables it. So now we can't edit. So what we could do as a failsafe is put in here that working is false to make sure we are always not working. In case maybe some UI wants to force a new edit, maybe the network command's hung or something, I don't know. Or we just leave this out to identify errors. So we could force here working as false every time we edit, but I think I'll leave that out. The same with cancel. In theory, the only thing we can't do here with this UI design is actually cancel a pending request, but that will be automatically cancelled. So now we say we start it, we wanted to cancel this. we can't. But that's in theory correct, because right now we've sent a command to the server and we're unaware of where the server is. We don't know whether it's finished it, started it. So this will time out on a network command when it's working. So even though you can't press anything to cancel it, I think that's technically correct. So we're going to leave the edit and cancel commands as they are. So the only one we really need to edit is the save command. And what we want to do for this is to provide, we basically want to await something here so that we can do some action and then toggle these values correctly. So if we first say get a result, and we just make it a default boolean for now, store the result of a commit call, and to be honest, I'm going to actually make it true by default, because we don't force the commit property, the commit action, to be set. So in the example right now where there's nothing, if we haven't bothered setting any commit, we're going to presume it's actually succeeded. So we're going to do the opposite of, we're not going to presume it's failed if there isn't even a function to call. So we'll set the default to true. So I'll state that defaulting to true if no commit action is declared. And then in here we'll make use of the run command async, which, as we've used before, basically while you're running a asynchronous task, the certain flag that you pass in will be, so in this case working, will be flagged as true, and it also does a try catch. So this, just make sure I get that syntax right. So this will now say that whatever we do in here, say we just await task.delay 10, during this 10 cycles, at this point it will be set to true, and then even if this crashed, it would then do a finally and catch that block, and this would then be set to false. So basically during this code here, regardless, this will be set to true, and when it's finished it'll be set to false. So we'll make use of that whatever action we now do in here sets the control up to be in a working state. As well as working, we now, while working, come out of edit mode. So editing equals false, and we've already done that down there, so let's just cut that. The working we don't need to set manually now either. The save original content we can do, we come out of editing mode, then we do save original content, or rather save, original text, the current saved value. So the current saved value is the edited text, and the edited text is the non-commit edited text. So actually, we don't want to do that unless we succeed. So we cut that out, we'll paste that back in a minute. We have the edited as false, then we want to basically try and do the work. So this will be the result equals await the commit action, and then question mark dot invoke. So basically we only call the action if it's commit. Otherwise that will return, false. So that logic doesn't work then in that case. So we'd have to do here commit action equals null, question mark true, colon, await commit action. So basically what we're saying there is if there is no action, it's true. So we can just change that back to default false, default boolean. So if there isn't an action provided, we say the result was true. Otherwise, we actually run the real action and get the result, and we've awaited that. So now this commit action will call our 3-second await. And then once we've finished, so because we're not in an async here, this is just a void, we are going to just do a continue with, and that will break us into here when we're ready. So now with the continue with, basically we have if we succeeded, so if result, so it's true, then commit the changed text, and I think that's it, because we're no longer working, we're already not editing anyway. So that's actually all we need to do for that. And then else, so otherwise, if we fail, then we will want to go back into edit mode, and before that we will want to actually, well, you need to restore text. We won't, will, because we're already in. We haven't changed the original text, so I think actually that's all we need to do. So if my theory is right, and this compiles, then we should have now the same behavior as we did before initially. So we can double click, type something, cancel, double click, type something, and this time when we click, it should call save, which it does. It will now run a command, and in here now, presuming we could see, which we can't, working should now be true, which is right. Editing will be false in a minute. It'll come out and call the action. So when I press F5, we should see the spinner for 3 seconds, and then it should come out and on success simply update the original text. So there's the spinner, and then it's done and the text is set. So if we just restart that without the debugger stopping the visual, we'll check what this looks like. So we go edit, type something, commit. Now actually we want to see that while it's working. So let's change this logic a little bit. We want to commit the change text so we can see it while it is working. Then now if we succeed, we don't need to do that because it's already done. So there's nothing to do. Nothing to do. If we fail, so this time if we fail, we need to go back to editing, and before that we want to restore the edited text. So edited text equals original text, or we could leave the, in fact I don't think we need to do that, because all we've done is set the original text to the edited. In fact, what we do need to do is the opposite way around. Yeah, we need to now restore the we need to keep a reference actually of the original text, because so var original old value or current saved value equals original text. Save currently up, currently saved value, because we've already overridden the original text here. So when it fails, we will need to update the original text to equal the original. So restore original value and go back into edit mode. The edited text will be what they originally typed. So what that'll mean is if the text was already a value, we edit it, it will show one way, fail and revert. So if we do this now, if we pick here where it already says Angel 6, so we change this to 2 and click now, it shows the 2. In fact, that's not worked. What's going on there? Why did that not do working? Oh, we can't do it on that one. We haven't hooked in a value yet. So on this one, if we edit, there's nothing in there. So we type test. It now shows the test, works away, and when it succeeds, it's simply commit. And when we edit, it's in there. So if we now change it around the other way to fail, so let's just jump back to the settings view model, and let's just make this fail for the minute on here. And let's check our reverse logic that the fail actually fails. So now if we go in here, we'll type test, and this should show, but then revert back and see now test is in here ready to test again, will failed and will show that in a notification. But now if I click cancel, it'll go back to blank because we've restored the original. So the original's still blank. We try to commit test. It works away. It fails to commit test. Chucks us back into edit mode so we can try again, but the original value hasn't been altered. So I think that is the action we want, basically, and now all we need to do is update these values here with all, so they've all got their own action. So let's just make the commit actions for all of these now, and then that's this done. It's basically now just rinse and repeat with what we've done. So we'll whiz through this fairly quick. This will now be the save username async. The password view model will come to after we've done that, because we need to make the same thing for the password. And the email, we just need to set the save email async. We've also got to clone the commands. So we've got two commands there. Now it's save username and email, wasn't it? Yeah, save email. So we've got the two commands. Can minimize them. We have save username, save email, save username, save email. That's that done. Open, close, log out, clear data. So in here now we have the, we just need to make these functions, don't we? Save username, save email. So we copy paste them. So this one will be saves the new username to the server. This is saves username, and we'll have them succeed. Well, the username succeed, the email, and the name to fail. So two of them will fail. Return fail, return succeed, return fail. So those three are in, all the commands are in. So now, without doing anything else, this should build, and we should have succeeding name change. So we edit the name, test, then that should succeed, which fail, which it has. The username should succeed. So we do that, and it succeeded. The email should fail. So we do that, and it fails, which is good. Obviously, like I say, we'll have the notification system done for whatever happens, so that even if you're off doing something else, it'll show up and we'll have a proper notification system. So that's those three. So the last thing now to do is to get a command going for this current password box. So we're going to mimic what we've just done here, really, which is to have, what have we done? Text entry. So in there we need a working and a commit actions. Let's just copy that, go to properties, paste the working and commit action, add the namespaces that we need. That's that bit. So we're done with that now. Oh, actually, we're not done with that. I'll come back to that in a minute. The public commands, we have no other commands there. Constructor, we do nothing else with. So now it's just the save method. So to be honest, the save method is going to be basically the same. So right now in this save method, we have this kind of fake change, which there's no point now because we're going to do the real code in the next video. So we know we need to do current password.unsecure to get the current password. which also doesn't come from anywhere. We type it in and we unsecure it. So that's what we've typed in basically. And then the new password and confirm, and then we send that over to the server. And then basically we let the user know when there's an error, but we're not going to use UI.show message now, I don't think. Maybe we will, but we can make use of this call again in the next video. But either way, this logic does not belong in the password entry view model, because this could be for any password, you know, or anything. It's not really designed to be in here. So we'll just delete all that, paste in the same as the text entry. Now the current save value you'd want to do things with. We don't have anything to do here. Let me just double check actually and go backwards. We store text, show a message, show UI, current password. Yeah, so we do nothing. So basically, we don't need to save values because we don't keep passwords in memory. They're just fake text, if you will. So we simply say while we're working, we come out of edit mode so we can see the little spinner. Then try to do the work. Let me just fix that space in there as well. And then once we've done, if we succeed, we do nothing. Well, we tell a lie, we do. We will have push notifications here or whatever notifications we want to show here. But right now we don't have them. If we fail, we don't restore the original text. We simply reopen the editing dialog. So we could do basics like in here, which we actually should. Check if we have a current password. Because if it doesn't, then... in fact, no, let's leave that logic to the caller, because they may want to do something completely unique with that. So let's leave all the logic to the caller. Go now to the settings view model and go to the password. And now we can set the commit action of the password to save password async. And copy and paste this. Saves the new password to the server. And then we just delay and we say false. So let's just try that out with a failure first. So we go here, edit password, that's cancel to be sure, yep. And it should fail, so it doesn't matter what I put in here right now to do anything. That goes away. We don't have a spinner because I forgot to add the spinner, but then it comes back, which is right. So let's just add that spinner, which is in the password something, password entry control. And then we want to go to the text entry control. Has my mouse died? No, Visual Studio's just gone really bizarre. Whoa, that's a bit crazy. Whoa. Oh, that's really messed up. There we go. That's still messed up. That's really, I don't know what's going on there. Let's close that down. Let's try that again. Password entry control. Okay, that's broken. Anyway, text entry control is where we want to copy and paste from. So in this, we did the is enabled here at the top. So we just put an is enabled for the working for the whole lot, which is fine. That will disable the hover from happening. Then the edited text, we basically just had, I believe, this added. I think that's all we did. So let's just add that. We get all this, label current new content edit button. And I think we just did that, unless I'm mistaken. We just added that. We also fixed the alignment here, didn't we, actually, on the edit button? Where's the edit button? There, we put these alignments in. Let's put them in. And I'm pretty sure that was it. So let's run this now. And hopefully that'll fix itself in a minute, but if not, it doesn't really matter. So, edit, cancel, edit, go. So now we've got the spinner. It's trying to edit the password. It fails, comes back, all the data's still there. Cancel, edit. Now the cancel isn't actually clearing the data, so that's one other issue we have there. So other than the password text box not clearing, this should be all now done. So we have the commands ready to actually do some action now. Yep, so that's there. So I think that's really it for this video. We will now move on to the web server and make the real functions, so we can send that data over to the web server in the next WPF video and see those edits actually happen. And now we have a real user system. And then we're going to push this web server live, and all you guys can start signing up. And then the video after that, we're going to start being able to send actual messages. So now you can start communicating with me through this actual application, which would be quite cool. So hopefully this video is useful. As always, if you've got any comments, just leave them in the description below. Also, I do now have, if any of you are interested, I have some Angel 6 mouse mats. So I now use these, so it's got my little man on, and it's a really good, high quality gaming mouse mat. If any of you want one of those, just leave a comment in the description, and let me know why you want one, and I'll start sending them out free. I've got 25 in the minute. I'm going to be giving them away in future videos, so I'll give away a couple each video. So just leave a comment if you want one, and I'll get you one sent out.